Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So thanks to the MCOC player 920, it does appear that we do indeed have a new leak on our hands. Now, as with all other videos where I do cover leaks, please do take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. This information has not been officially confirmed by Kabam. There's always a room for error as well. And yeah, this is not official Kabam released information, so things might change. At the same time, I am compelled to mention that MCOC player and most leakers in general have hardly ever been wrong. There's only a handful of times that has ever happened, and they are right time in and time out again. So the likelihood of this leak being accurate is fairly good. All that said, there appears to be a new future 7-star champion pool that could be added in similar fashion, like Omega Days, like Legend Celebration, like the Cyber Weekend or Gifting Crystals. Effectively, a limited time champion pools, champions being added in some special event. Now, we do not know exactly which event this is going to come from, because he says he has not had the opportunity to find out exactly when these characters will appear or in what crystal, but it likely will be some very specific crystal or selector, just like we recently had for Omega Days or so on and so forth. So let's look. My apologies, it's very late. It's coming on 2 a.m. here. So let's take a look at the actual champions. Number 1, Misty Knight. Again, an interesting 7-star to add. I think with a crit damage stat focus, she could potentially be significantly more effective than she is a 6-star right now, because that's kind of one of the bigger problems of her damage output and the fact that she doesn't have any like cruelty or any other attack modifiers in her kit. Now, originally I actually quite liked Misty Knight, but she just isn't quite good enough to compete in today's game, especially not existing as a 7-star. Immortal Hulk, a champion I absolutely love, but unfortunately has completely fallen off the map because of his mechanics, because the fact that he's irrelevant in battlegrounds, only as a big meat shield defender, I suppose. But other than that, you don't really see him used much. I do find him very fun though, but I don't put a ton of value in him right now. Man-Thing, as a 7-star, potential for a comeback as a very, very chunky champion that does require you to have nullify immunity or ability to deal with poison or some other ways to counter the poison damage, and obviously MD as well, and can stall for quite a bit. So Man-Thing does hold value in the game if it gets released as 7-star, in my opinion. Then we have Venompool, again another champion that I think is quite good, I think is quite cool, could be interesting, but is a ramp up champion ultimately, and would likely not do too crazy good in like battlegrounds or Alliance War for that matter either. Well, maybe Alliance War a bit more so. Punisher 2099. Now that is a champion I absolutely love to see because of his unique power control mechanics, where you hardly enable opponents to throw special attacks. He's very good unduped, even better just at a low sig as well. And that is, in my opinion, probably the most exciting champion there, together with Man-Thing. And then we have Magneto House of X, the king of pre-fights, but not particularly popular as a standalone champion in a fight. Overall, though, a good champion how, but you can get by with using a 6-star for most part, or 5-star for that matter. So, as a champion pool, again, I don't think it's a crazy good pool. I'm going to say how it is. I think the best options there are niche preferences that people have. There's not a single really hype champion in there. And ultimately, if I would need to compare the quality of this pool with, let's say, the Omega Days champions were definitely much more desirable. Even the previous ones where we had like Shocker in there and Adam Warlock and whatnot, those were much more appealing as well. So, and I like Punisher 2099 and like Man-Thing, but I'm not like desperate for any of those champions, and I wouldn't be like overjoyed. I don't feel like going out of my way for a crystal such as this. And I think that's kind of a problem that Kabam has right now, where I like the idea of these limited time crystals or limited time pulls, but they also need to have some sort of badass in them. And not a single one of these champions would realistically make, a top 10 list in their class or something like that. Not one. Maybe Punisher gets some popularity boost being released as 7-star, but kind of doubt it. Kind of doubt. And yeah, it definitely will be interesting to see what type of event this gets added, but doesn't seem too hot. Think about my generally have problems with the champion selection or the way they're getting added right now, where these are the things that are meant to get us like super hyped and pumped for events. I don't think this will do it. It's similar situation like right now with the Titan Crystal, where Titan Crystal objectively has lost, a ton of its value, considering for how hard it is to acquire Titan Crystals. Kabam's just not doing the best job making them shiny and exciting, in my opinion. Because the real problem lies not only with the old and extra champions Kabam's adding, like the Thing or the Cersei's or Luke Cage's or Blades or, Noah's and Symbiote Supremes. I think they could do a better job, adding in stuff like Havoc and Penny. I think those are much more exciting. But it's also that a lot of the newer champions are just kind of somewhat lackluster. And we need these like super shiny events or crystals where people do feel kind of like really encouraged to take part and give chase, because this is ultimately the game about chasing what you want in the game, which champions you prefer and stuff like that. And this ain't going to do too great of a job. There will again obviously be people who love Misty Knight or who love Venom Pool or Punisher 2099, but that's not a large contingent of people who would actually kind of like wail out on things. People want the Hulklings, the Gallons, the really kind of like exciting popular meta champions, and not it. But again, if you are a fan of any of these champions, then I bet you will be very, very happy very soon in one of the upcoming events. Let me know whether you guys think this is going to be the July sales champion pool or it's going to appear a bit later on. We do not know that yet, but let me know what you guys think. And I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow because I need some sleep. Bye-bye. Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next